Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Psalm 23, verse 4.
Yeah, I think I was really preparing my whole life for a moment like this to kind of encompass all the things I love, from performing to writing, directing, and really kind of being the author of my narrative, and owning that. I didn't really realize that I could write or that I could direct. It was something that I think ended up coming to me, realizing that, okay, I have this project, Big Boss. I'm proud of it, and I want to tell it in a meaningful way. And I was having a good conversation with my manager, Big Billy, about it. And he was just like, we gotta figure out a way to tell this story, and we gotta figure out how to bring this new project to the world in a unique way that's, original to you. And that really kind of just motivated me to sit down and take the time, and I wrote in my notes, and then from my notes came me downloading final draft on my computer to just writing the script from the memory of script structure that I have from working in the industry for so many years. And so the story came about through some, general traditional narrative forms, and then as time kind of developed, some in a more metaphorical sense. Oh man, well, I think the main challenge with doing the Big Boss movie was obviously COVID, making sure that we had all the COVID restrictions and things like that in order. And then I had never filmed anything on this creative scale, so most of the things I filmed would be well under $100,000, and this was over $300,000 of my own personal investment, which means there are other different laws in California that you have to go by, taxes, and how you do, the things with your workers, how many you have, how little you can have. There's so many other political type of things that you have to do, and it can be quite expensive, but it's the way it is. It just is my first time, and so having to figure all that out, and knowing that I definitely want to make this kind of level of investment with all these things up against it, that was a big kind of come to Jesus moment for me to realize how much I'm really willing to bet on myself creatively in this pursuit. And I was willing, and I think it took many years probably for me to get to that point. But eventually I did, and that point was Big Boss. So yeah, I was not going to stop even with COVID. I was going to figure out a way to make sure that I could follow those protocols. I was going to figure out what I needed to do with the state, laws and tax incentives, or unfortunately lack thereof. And I was just going to go for it. I loved working with Melise. Working on set with Melise Riahi, who is the creative director as well as being the DP, was incredible. From the moment that I met her, the things that she added to the film, I think she took a lot of the emotions of what I was saying and added a metaphorical element that could line up really well to some of the more traditional narrative of the script, which I think was beautiful. That's what I wanted. I did not want the straight on the nose kind of Lemonade type vibe for the visual album. Although I do like the metaphorical sentiments of that, I wanted to kind of bring it more traditional to some of my more, roots, which would be like Michael Jackson American Dream story, or, Cheetah Girls, Disney, kind of putting it in a framework that felt familiar to me, but still adding those artistic elements that kind of make it edgy or take it out of the box. And so I really loved working with Melise because she offered that. So we were very much so similar, but in a different way. And working on set with her, I felt like I was I never did ecstasy before, but I felt like I was on ecstasy because we both felt like we were really living in our dream, and we didn't have anybody to answer to. And you give two strong women a position to not be able to answer to nobody, we going everywhere and nowhere. You know what I mean? We're going, wherever we can get our hands on. And so it was just incredible to have her by my side during that process, and just working with Helen, who was an incredible set designer, and seeing how she really created these sets and how they really took elements of who I am. And everybody knows I love being a Virgo, so the way they designed the room and the house in Big Boss with all the flowers and the plants and the greens and the warm tones, and just how they incorporated in the scene where I'm in the studio, and the metaphorical aspect of, sometimes being in the music industry and in the studio specifically can feel like you're surrounded by vultures, and just bringing those elements to life and seeing how they came across was really, really rewarding. It was really rewarding. And then obviously moments hanging out with the glam team, our fun conversations, and being with Billy during this process, as he was there for most of my musical career and most of my career, to be on the set with him and just to see how everything's playing out, it was incredible.